It's a double whammy. A double whammy on America, on all of us Luigi fans, on all of us who care about anything worth anything in this country. Not only have they allegedly caught the CEO shooter, but then this ex-Marine doucher that killed that man on the subway gets pronounced not guilty. I can only deal with one thing at a time. So let's just go into Luigi Mangione. I keep wanting to say Chuck Mangione because of King of the Hill and that famous trumpet instrumental. You know, Chuck Mangione is from my area. I think a couple of my dad's friends knew him, but I don't know. I digress. Anyway, Kyle Rittenhouse is trending because people are absolutely correct. If Rittenhouse can get off scot-free, Luigi better get a damn presidential pardon. I'm telling you, I didn't care too much either way about Biden throughout the presidency. I didn't much care or pay much attention. I don't give a shit what everyone at Fox News, all the right-wing pundits and talking heads were saying about Biden. Anyone with a D before their name, they're going to come up with anything they can think of. Not even just to make the Democratic candidate look bad, but as bad or worse than themselves, which is very, very interesting and telling right there. Uh, but what will really turn me off to Biden, it's already happening. He's got precious few days left to take advantage of that presidential immunity that Trump is going to fully take advantage of and do the most awesome shit this country has seen in a long time. One of the things he should do is pardon Luigi. Yes, he should be pardoned. And you know what? People are not shy about talking about why they like this shooter. And I'm not even talking about all the pectoral pics that have been showing up all over the place. I'm talking about his actions themselves. Do you realize how many lives this guy actually saved in the few days since he capped that CEO? Read around. I'm telling you. There was some insurance company thinking of cutting off coverage for anesthesia during surgery if it went past a certain set amount of time that they decided the surgery should last for. And as soon as this CEO got capped, just like that, they reversed their decision. Just like that. They're saying they're not going to do that anymore. And you can't say, well, it's because of a social media backlash. This whole nation is a backlash against privatized health insurance. If the support for the shooter says anything to you, people are reporting that they were recently denied for certain claims, and they're getting called up out of nowhere Just like that, the insurance companies have changed their minds. Just like that. When the hell does an insurance company deny a claim and then go back on it? I think the only time I've ever seen something like that is in a Michael Moore movie, where a father of a little girl who was denied treatment for a cochlear implant decided to write a letter to the CEO of the health insurance company and ask him if he's ever been in a movie before. Just like that, he gets a call saying they've decided to approve his daughter's surgery. And that's what's happening to people. I must have read a dozen and a half instances of this happening in the past few days on Twitter. CEOs, there's also tweets by people that say that they work for United Healthcare or other insurance companies, and about all these emergency meetings their boards were having in the days following the shooting. Oops. Hello? I'm streaming right now. Can I give you a call in a bit? Yeah. I said I'm streaming right now. Can I call you in a bit? Okay. Freaking people. I'm supposed to go out with this guy in a little bit. A friend and neighbor. But I don't want to talk to him now. Anyway, yeah, people are talking about all this awesome shit. People are leaking information about these board meetings at all these privatized insurance companies, where they're wondering what the hell they can do to make them less of targets. I mean, between the anesthesia thing and all the people getting caught, do you know that this guy single-handedly capping one CEO in the back of the head probably saved tens of thousands of lives, or took a huge burden off the shoulders of tens of thousands of people in a matter of days because of his actions? And the only people still sucking the asshole of this guy are blue check chuckle fucks, right wingers, rich people. And now the latest thing is this shooter came from a rich family. This shooter might have been rich. This shooter was like in a higher class than the rest of you poors. So there. So there. Why are you defending him? Maybe because a broken back at the age of 25 or however old he is, because apparently this guy has a fucking titanium clamp or something on his lower spine. It looks like an x-ray from the movie Alien. I don't know what the hell it is fusing his spine together, but apparently he had an accident, had some back surgery, and was never the same. He's in constant pain. He's constantly physically tortured, and that affects your quality of life. And supposedly that's a major reason he turned against the insurance companies. You know, nothing like some good old-fashioned pain and suffering to remind you that your money doesn't mean shit and your status doesn't really mean shit if you don't have your health. And I have another friend and neighbor who's in his 80s, in poor health. He used to do everything. He was an outdoorsman. He's been to every city in the United States. He's camped, he's hiked, he's fished, he's traversed, he's climbed, and now he feels like a fragile shell of the guy he once was, and would trade everything to be 20 or 30 years younger. And has a friend who is in the same boat. He's in such pain and he suffers so much. It doesn't matter that the guy is very well off. Says he'd trade it in a second to not have chronic pain. And I guess these are the things that remind us we're really not better than anybody else. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I can sympathize with Luigi because both my parents have had chronic back pain. My mother has a partial degenerated spine that she got from work. She literally worked until she broke her back and has not been able to be physically active since. My dad also has a disc problem in his back, and he has not shut up about it, feeling creaky and having pains for like 15 years. I know people who had to wait till they were in their 60s to get in and out knee and ankle and leg surgeries because insurance companies decided when they get certain injuries or they have certain debilitating conditions, they're too young to have them. Usually older people have them. So I know a guy that has had both knees replaced. He has needed the knees replaced for like 30 years. He had to wait until he was 60 to get the surgeries because of privatized insurance, telling him he's not old enough to qualify for that surgery. He has a stepson, another friend of mine, who has been in chronic pain for several years now. He put on like 60 freaking pounds because he has been unable to be active, exercise, or even walk too far without pain. And he's told the same thing. He's too young to qualify for the surgery. He's going to have to wait until he's 60. He's going to have to wait until more than half of his life is suffered away before he qualifies for the couple hour, 1 day surgery it's going to take for him to have relief, be able to walk without pain. Can you imagine what it is they said to this guy? This guy that has what looks like a face-huggy alien wrapped around the base of his spine. And if he comes from an affluent family or a well-off family, I'm sure he is. That's probably the only reason he has that thing attached to his spine. Do you realize that's like half the battle for a treatment like that? For you to need a treatment like that? It was probably only because of his family's money that he was able to get that far. And even then, his friends and people that knew him claimed that he was in chronic pain. He's so young, and of course, look at the images of him. He worked out, he went traveling, he seems like he liked to hike and go outdoors and do all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody mention the fact those pictures are probably before the back injury, before the surgery. His entire livelihood, his youth, his physicality, his quality of life has been taken from him. I'm not even going to say I believe it, because that's just a fact. I have family and friends that have lived with this, that have dealt with this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to insurance and how they proliferate people's suffering and death. I saw a tweet somewhere where this woman, some ass licker, was defending this guy. He has a family. Let's not forget he has a family. And this woman responded, tens of thousands of people in their greatest time of need also had families. They also had loved ones that depended on them or that they depended on, watching them suffer and die. And then they employed an AI algorithm that had a 90% failure rate that they knew about. UHC knew about it and didn't do anything because 90% failure rate means 90% misdiagnosis or incorrect information, and all the better to deny claims. And then, of course, people are showing the chart, the bar graph. United Health is on the bottom of that graph. They are the worst health insurance company. The bar is way longer than the people at the top when it comes to denying claims and causing pain and suffering. This is shit America should be suing for. And nobody does anything. Nobody really cares. They sit and stew at home. And then this guy finally shows up and pops a few caps in the back of this dude's head. And just like that, change seemed to be erupting. All this shit started happening. And then some fucking old biddy at a McDonald's sends in a tip, and now all of a sudden they caught this mastermind, complete with a manifesto and a fake ID, days after the fact, after they claimed he was a pro and he's probably out of the city. And they found his backpack, which only contained Monopoly money. I was hoping this guy was going to get away. Because, like that woman was saying on Twitter, doesn't matter that the CEO had a family. He's a serial killer. And that's not even a joke. No rim shot there. And so now they're talking about how hopefully a jury will completely exonerate him. They ain't going to do that. They're going to find the whitest, boomeriest, richest jury in America. And then look at that freaking chode, that subway killer. Not guilty. You know, his max sentence wasn't even as bad as somebody would get for having a little bit of drugs on them. What was the maximum? 10, 15 years he would have gotten? And the judge probably would have been sympathetic and let him out after a few years. But no, no, not even a slap on the wrist. Not guilty. This guy is completely free to just walk. This is why, no, you talk about a fucked up system. This is a fucked up system. This is a system in which a guy got arrested, already suffered, and he's probably going to get put away for the crime of enacting more change when it comes to people's health care than we've seen in 40 years. And the subway killer gets off scot-free. Kyle Rittenhouse gets off scot-free. And the subway killer gets off scot-free. But, you know, this guy, they want him crucified. And that's why Biden needs to fucking pardon this kid. I'll be honest, I was actually hopeful about the future of my country for a few days. Were any of you actually hopeful for a few days after this shooting? Thinking, holy crap, we're reading this shit, we're looking at this shit, we're actually watching good things happen in real time because this greedy bastard got capped. Maybe things are changing, and then no. Just back to being plebes again. And you want to know something else? I'm going to say it right now. Stop saying assassinated when it comes to this greaseball CEO. Stop using the word assassinated. Presidents get assassinated. Prominent historical figures get assassinated. First ladies get assassinated. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and whoever get assassinated. Prominent historical figures, people of extreme importance, they get assassinated. This is some greasy, greedy CEO, selfish fuck, responsible for untold amounts of suffering and death that got his ass capped in the head twice. That's what this was. This was a shooting. The shooting of some greaseball CEO. It wasn't an assassination. Don't dignify his death by comparing him to people who get assassinated. JFK was assassinated. This guy got capped twice in the back of the head, which, compared to the suffering and death he propagated, is a very easy way out for him. Extremely easy deal. He's assassinating my heterosexuality. Damn. Yeah, something doesn't add up. They're bringing up the fact the real shooter, the alleged real shooter, has a unibrow, and he's got pretty thick, dark eyebrows. And this other image, they're lighter and thinner brows, and there is clear separation between them. The people who celebrated Rittenhouse for years are crying really hard about now. Hey, McDonald's employee who snitched. Did you get a raise? Paid time off? Health insurance? Good luck getting your reward money from the NYPD. Yeah, what about that reward money? $10,000 they were offering. I bet right about now the McDonald's worker is thinking, ooh, boy, howdy, that'll buy a lot of Walmart shorts. Maybe I can get myself that catalytic converter that has been falling off my 15-year-old car for the past 2 years. Biden has the chance to pardon Luigi Mangione, and it would be the funniest thing ever. It wouldn't be the funniest thing ever. It would be the right thing to do. But like I said, I never had any real problems with Biden until just this month and last month. He has the opportunity to use that presidential immunity to do a lot of things for America right now, and he ain't doing it. Ooh, Luigi Mangione's lawyer should put the entire health insurance industry on trial and argue that Mangione was defending the public from a predatory individual who profited off of killing and bankrupting people. Yeah, that's getting reposted. Name one instance you've ever been asked for ID at a McDonald's. Gunman was spotted at McDonald's by the tipster. He did not attempt to use an ID at a McDonald's. NYPD just proved they have all the resources needed to solve any murder by catching Luigi Mangione. Interesting, they only seem to care to deploy them when the victim is worth about $50 million. The entire country at one McDonald's employee right now. Yeah, that's another thing that's pissing me off. The guy who was the person of interest from the photos, some of the photos they took, is actually getting death threats, he said. He's getting harassed. All of these ass-sucking right-winger fucks who are complaining, oh my God, these people, look at the left. They're so violent. They're so aberrant. They so love violence because they're defending this murderer. The left, the ones defending this guy aren't the ones calling and threatening the lives of this guy and his family that was pictured as the person of interest. That would be you. Like you people usually do to anybody that, isn't exactly like you. So shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear anything about people defending the CEO or bashing Mangione. No. You know what? Fuck you people. You can tell which ones they are. They've got those premium plans. But like Mangione, it's just a matter of time before they get into the right type of accident or catch the right illness, And then their money isn't going to matter. Not even then is it going to matter. You know, that president you hate so much, Biden and everything, you know, when his kid died and his kid was like an attorney general, he ran out of money for his treatments. He ran out of money. He has one of the most prominent jobs in the nation, and he ran out of money to pay for his health care. So the Obamas helped the Bidens to pay for their kids' health care so they wouldn't have to sell their home. Did you know that? The Biden son ended up suffering and dying because the money ran out for his treatment. I guess you could really be a multi-millionaire, and that's how simple it is. One illness, one accident, you're just like all the rest of us all of a sudden. And if anything, that's what happened to Luigi Mangione. Uh, oh. Waters, he's way too soft. He's gonna get annihilated. Someone will do him justice behind bars. I love this implication. There's a bunch of rowdy guys in a prison ready at a moment's notice to defend the honor of a health insurance CEO. Jesse Waters and all the rest of the right-wingers ought to know. Those guys in prison go after people like you, not Luigi Mangione. They don't tend to look kindly on pedophiles and people who harm children. You know, if like any of you GOPers were to end up behind bars and any one of those inmates knows anything about anything related to politics or your policies, you would be shivved in less than a week. Luigi Mangione would be hoisted up on shoulders and paraded as the king of that prison. And I'll put money on that. Again with the muscles. If that little piece of shit Kyle Rittenhouse got to walk free, then so should this guy. Exactly. Him on trial is going to be like, yeah, I killed him because he neglected people's health in favor of money. And the prosecutors are going to be like, see, he's a psychopath. People will dissect the shooter's online presence for years, but the question of what radicalized him is a pretty obvious answer here. He was radicalized by pain. Now think about all those tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across this country that do not come from any kind of prominent family or money. Think about what they go through. Maybe it makes more sense why everyone in our country just seems miserable. An unhealthy country with the severe lack in quality of life in more than one ways. It's from every angle, financially, health-wise, education-wise. It's from everywhere all at once. Again, killing people in cold blood to resolve a policy is precisely how America was founded. Yep. Yeah, when they're talking about Al Franken or some other left winger, they'll bring up guns. My guns. They love their guns. They love the Second Amendment. They're ready to shoot anyone who gets in their way. These are the type of people who go up to black and brown people in cars and ask them why they're driving through their neighborhood. And they better leave or else I'm going to shoot you. But, Luigi Mangione is just a psychotic murderer. It, it, you know, uh, Look at what he's managed to do. He, almost fully woke a sleeping giant with those bullets he pumped into the back of that guy's head. And we're going to let it go to waste. Popeye's employees would have helped him get rid of the gun. This is getting retweeted. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Luigi Mangione. Now that's a fucking quote. We have Mangione's life story in 3 hours after arrest, but zero information about Trump's fake staged assassination shooter months later. Notice how New York City didn't snitch on him and it was them filthy rats in Pennsylvania. New York Post stated again, Luigi Mangione played assassin video game Among Us with friends. Extremely ironic. My hundreds of hours in Skyrim conditioned me to scream at things like how I just did at my phone reading this very stupid headline. Uh, Dude, you could have dozens and dozens and even hundreds of hours in the Hitman series, and it would mean nothing to me as far as your ability to kill people goes. Among Us. They think they really hate video games. They really don't know shit, do they? Right wingers really are fucking stupid as hell, aren't they? Among Us. All the games out there, all the violent games specifically designed where you play a fucking hitman or a murderer. And he played Among Us, so that's what drove him to violence. Mark my words, I'm telling you right now. In a couple of weeks, that's what they'll all be bitching about on Fox News. You'll be seeing Among Us clips, and they'll be bitching about how now more than ever we need to get rid of violent video games. And and like 50, 60,000 Americans in this country in that meantime are going to be dropping dead from completely preventable healthcare conditions and diseases. It would be funny if it weren't so fucking pathetic. Culvers wouldn't have snitched. I'm sure you guys. He's an educated man with a master's degree who stop saying assassinated. He capped one of the most corrupt people in our current medical industry. He is an American hero. Free him. So you kill a rich guy, you're a murderer. You kill a poor, struggling, mentally ill guy, you're innocent. Sums up America rather neatly. Looking at these two, you know what would really send a message? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? You know, you got a guy right over here, and he's like the shooting guy, and blah blah blah, and then you know you got the back of some guy's head over here, and then you know he did something to and my neighbor's like, oh, he should have gotten called not guilty. There was this guy who was harassing people. Yeah, that's called a day on the subway. That's called a day on public transportation anywhere you go. Fuck. Thank goodness the killer of some poor schizophrenic black crazy dude on the subway is free, and the killer of a wealthy white death merchant is in custody. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, they knew the gays would have paid it in 2 minutes when the court orders Luigi Mangione to be held without bail. We send 18-year-olds across the world with machine guns to kill people to resolve policy differences. Yeah, this, you're going to be hearing about this for many days. It's all about class struggle and money. That's all it is. Don't let any of these ass lickers try to tell you, well, he had money too. So take that, you pores. I don't give a shit. Again, money doesn't mean anything with that kind of chronic pain, chronic health condition. It's like the great equalizer. That's what it is. Pain and suffering. Yeah, that prominent family probably went bankrupt just to get that face hugger attached to their son's spine. And he lost quality of life. This is the norm in America. This is what happens when you make something as necessary as healthcare for profit. Luigi Mangione, I feel bad for him, but there are millions upon millions of people in this country with the same story, the same deal, the same rotten deal. That's what it is. And the fact this entire country isn't up in arms over this shit and hasn't been for decades, that's one of the things that truly tells me we're doomed as a nation. Nobody bitches about how it was wrong to kill Marie Antoinette. The French people had it, and they chopped that bitch's head off. They started a revolution, and they literally got things rolling, because that was the only way they were really going to enact change. And like I said, read sometime. In the few days before this guy was caught, I had seen more changes to our healthcare system as a result of him shooting one CEO than I have in my entire life. And again, I'm not listening to any ass kissers. You don't either. I don't care how bad some right-winger tries to make you feel because you feel happy for this guy. Yeah, these people who want to suddenly act like they're human now that a rich guy has been capped. And could it be them next? Or they think it could be them next because, you know, they're just like these rich CEOs, right? All of them are. Just like they're all like Trump, right? It's just a matter of time before they get an invitation to Mar-a-Lardo. But no. They let Kyle Rittenhouse off. They let this fucking Subway psycho off. Subway psycho found not guilty the day after this guy is caught. They have no problem with it. You can, if he walked into a school and shot 24 kids, they'd have less of a problem with that than the killing of this CEO. So I don't want to hear anything from these people, these fucking disgusting people. Yes, they are disgusting for not supporting this guy. And no, it has nothing to do with his abs. The abs were just a great bonus. You know, maybe people should start typing that down on social media. You know, right-wing shooters. You can tell they're losers because they look like it. Now look at left-wing shooters. Left-wing shooters don't have any problem picking people up. They don't have any problem except something very serious. Something very, very serious has to be wrong with them for them to pick out a gun and start capping people like chronic pain and a crab clawed against the base of your spine. Left-wing shooters won't go after innocent children. They'll go after the rich CEO. And if you can pardon Kyle fucking Rittenhouse, and if you can let off this Subway fucking psycho, I don't even want to see a jury try to get him off. I don't even want to see him in court. I want an immediate pardon by Biden. That's what I want to see.